Right, hello. Welcome everybody to another My Tutor AI squad. Hope you're all doing well. Just like last time, we are going to get started at 5 past. So, those of you who are here early, relax, chill out, maybe get yourself a drink, and then can't wait to see you on the session. Those of you who have just joined us, if you want to say a quick hello in the chat, I can see someone's already said hello. Hello there, Comet. Nice to see you again. Just type a quick comment in the chat saying how your day's been, how your week's been, what have you been up to, all those kinds of stuff. And at 5 past, we'll get started on more AI stuff. Oh, also, I should mention, for this particular episode, it might benefit you if you take a moment right now, and I'll say this again, but it might benefit you if right now you find different objects in your room that are different colors. So like a red object or a yellow object or a blue object. I'll explain later on, but we're going to be using different objects today. Hello there, Annabelle. Nice to see you again. I'll repeat all that when we start, but we're going to be using objects in your house today. So, boldly coloured objects are required. All those who are joining today, say a quick hi in the chat. Hi there, Michael. We've got the mods. Hello. Sadly, certain colours don't work with my aesthetic source. It doesn't really matter on the particular, colours. You don't have to have you don't have specific colours, but if you can have maybe 2 or 3 objects that are differently coloured, like a red object or a green object or a purple object or something like that, that would be good. But yeah, nice to see everyone back. How's everyone's week been? I'll tell you how my week's been. My week has been very, very cold. I live in Scotland, so the weather is always changing. Sometimes it's really, really hot, and sometimes it's freezing cold. And this week particularly, it's been like this far away from having snow, so it's been pretty cold. But I wonder how everyone else's week's been. Someone's had a boring week. Sorry to hear that, comment. Sorry you haven't been up to much. Michael says that his week's been good. Good to hear. Glad to hear it. Anything exciting happened this week? Anything new or interesting? Anyone? Try and think of anything exciting that happened to me this week. Oh, I know something exciting happened. I don't know if you can see it. You might be able to see it in the background there. I built a Disney castle. That was probably the most exciting thing that happened to me this week. If anyone's got any exciting news or anything that happened this week, let me know. And we're starting in a minute. So those of you just joining us, don't worry, you haven't missed anything. I'll just get the presentation up. Oh, before I start, I should also mention there is a form that you can fill out as well. I believe the mod has linked it in the chat. You can fill that out. It really helps us out, and it helps us design future squads like this. Just telling us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you think we could do better, all that kind of stuff. If you would take a few minutes just to fill it out. It's really easy, and it just helps us out a lot. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, excuse me, that would be fabulous. But yeah, that is 5 past, so we will get started, and anyone who decides to join us, we will catch them up. But okay, can everyone see the presentation on the screen? If you can, type yes in the chat. Okay, I'm getting some yeses there. All right, fabulous. Someone can't see it. Oh, I mean, yes. Okay, you got me worried there for a second, but I'm glad you can see it. Okay, so welcome back to My Tutor AI Squads. This is day 3 of the squads, and today we are going to be looking at how do I can train a computer to see images, specifically looking more into a particular software called machine learning for kids. It might sound simple because it's called machine learning for kids, but it's really good at creating a bunch of different classification models, image models, face models, sound models, number models. And another benefit of this particular software that we're going to use today is that you can use it in extended projects. So if we've got any GCSEers on here, or people who just want to create a project on their own, it allows you to do that. It has extended, it can be extended to things like Scratch, things like Python, and things like App Inventor. Just out of curiosity, do we have any people who like Scratch in the chat? Anyone here know about Scratch? Anyone used Scratch before? / even heard of Scratch? If you have heard of Scratch before, type in the chat. Comment like Scratch. Anybody else? Anyone else heard of Scratch before? It's okay if you haven't. Annabelle says, I used to use it all the time. Okay, you're going to be great at this today then, because a lot of this is going to be very Scratch based. So, okay, someone said they love Scratch. I love Scratch as well. That's kind of why I designed this episode to be the way it was, because I know so many people love Scratch. So we're going to use a bit of Scratch and a bit of machine learning. So hopefully we should combine the best of both worlds today. So this is a slight recap of what we talked about last time, but essentially we are looking at different types of learning. Specifically, we're going to look at classification today. Oh, I got a comment from iCode on it. Brilliant. You are going to be amazing today. Anyone who's done, even if you haven't done Scratch before, you'll still enjoy it. But if you have done Scratch before, then this episode's for you, because there is a lot of different Scratch stuff that we can do. But yeah, we are going to be looking at specifically an image classification model. We touched on this a little bit last time, but it bears worth repeating. So basically, classification is where you put things into categories or classes. In machine learning for kids, that is called labels. So, and there's a little GIF there kind of showing how you can classify stuff. What we didn't touch on last time is how specifically AI learns. So AI learns from experience, and this experience comes in the form of data. So we give it data, and then it goes through this process called training or learning. And then once the AI is trained, then we have to test it with new/unseen data. So we have 2 different sets, if you like, of data that we need. We need a training set where it starts to learn upon, and a testing set where we can check to make sure what we've actually done is correct. So this is the process, as you can see here. You go to data, train, test, and make. As you can see here, there is a slight bring it back around, and that is improving, which is something that people don't normally consider, but it is a very important step. We might get onto this today, but a lot of the time, your machine learning model isn't the best the first time round, and does sometimes need more improvements, which will come in the form of more data. Oh, I've got a question here. Wait, are we doing Chat GPT? We are not doing it today specifically, but there are going to be episodes along the line which cover Chat GPT. Are a lot of you interested in Chat GPT, by the way? If you are or are not, if you wouldn't mind saying in the chat right now. Is anyone interested in doing Chat GPT? Okay, Comment's not a fan. Fair enough. What about everyone else? Not much. Okay, fair. Some people are really interested in it, some people are not. I prefer Scratch. Cool. I like Scratch too. Well, that brings us on to the actual Scratch project, what we're going to do today with image classification. Before I move on, I did cover quite a lot of information in the previous slide. Does all of that make sense? The process of how AI learns, you go from the data, then it trains, then it tests, and then you need to improve it until it actually works. Has anyone got any questions on that, or are you happy for me to move on? Oh, okay. Someone says, I've used it and it's pretty cool how quick it is and its ability to be interactive because it means that it's a lot more accessible than just coding. I'm guessing you're talking about Scratch and not Chat GPT? How quick it is, its ability to be interactive. Official Spoon, if you wouldn't mind clarifying which one you're talking about, but Comment says it makes sense, so I'm going to move on to the actual content of today. So we are going to be looking at image classification using a website called Machine Learning for Kids. So I'm going to get it up on the screen and I'll show you how to get it yourselves. And this is the website. So the way you get to it is you literally search on Google machine learning for kids. It is the first search that comes up. Here it is, machine learning for kids. And it's this website that comes up. And you can use it to it's a similar format to Teachable Machine from last week if you were there, but this one's a little bit more advanced. So once everyone's on the website, if you could all type yes in the chat so I know when to move on. Mikhail says yes. Okay, I'll wait a few more seconds then. Annabelle says yes. Okie dokie. Someone said, can you post the link in chat? Yeah, I can do that. There we go. But yes, it seems like everyone's got to the website. So, first thing you need to do is you click Get Started. Now, you don't need to sign up to try this machine learning thing. You can just press Try It Now, and it only allows you to create one project at a time, but you can still try it without registering. So what you're going to do is you're going to click Try It Now, and then it brings you to this machine learning page. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to create a Scratch application which has a chameleon on it, and the chameleon will change color depending on which image you show it. So if you show it a red image, for example, like a red bag of coffee, or an orange image, such as a orange pumpkin mug, it will change color depending on that. Hopefully that all makes sense. So let's get started with making our project. So to create a project, you start with Add New Project. You got to give it a name, so we're going to call it Chameleon, if I can spell Chameleon. I think that's how you spell Chameleon. And you can tell it what specifically to recognize. As you can see here, there's a lot more options that you've got. You've got not just images, but you can also do text, numbers, and sounds, but today we're just going to look at images. And then you click create, and boom, you've got a project. Once everyone is at this stage, let me know. Oh, and those of you who are waiting, I would recommend maybe taking a minute. I did this before the session. I just ran around my house like a mad person, but I went and found about 2 or 3 different objects of quite bold looking colors. So I got a green book, I got a pink box, and a yellow, a red even coffee. I'd recommend getting stuff like that. Someone said on the website now. Fabulous. Okay. When everyone has created their first project, let me know and I'll move on. Official Spoon is done. Thank you, Official Spoon. Would it work if the object is mainly one color but has some other ones? I have a mug that's mainly blue but has some grey. Yeah, that should work. It should work. You're only going to be using that specific mug anyway. We'll talk about how that might not work in the real world later on, but for this exercise, it should be fine. I'd also recommend, because I tested this earlier on, to try and choose colours that are quite different from each other. As in, I test it out with a dark blue pencil case and a dark purple laptop case, and they kind of sometimes looked very similar depending on the light. So just be careful. But yeah. Is everyone happy for me to move on? Annabelle's happy for me to move on. Okie dokie. Right. So, as you can see on the screen, the different stages of creating an AI are actually on the screen. So you've got the train and you've got the learning and test area. The make isn't necessarily a part, but it is still important. So the first thing you need to do is train our machine. So we're going to click train. We are now going to train different labels, and these labels are going to be our colours. So I'm going to go with orange, green, and purple, because I've got an orange, green, and purple object. So I'm going to create 3 different labels. So to create a label, you press Add Label, give it a name, recommend typing in all lowercase, it just makes things easier, and you're going to type in orange. And then you do the same for the other colours. I'd recommend only doing maybe 2 or 3 colours because you don't know how much your computer can handle. So I'm going to do green, and I think I said I was going to do purple. Can you train it with multiple items of the same colour? Well, that's kind of what we're going to do, but I'd recommend for this exercise training using 1 object per colour. But in the real world, yes. And if you really want to, you can try it out. But I'd recommend sticking with 1 object to one color for this one. Just so it would work. But yeah, once you've all got your labels, let me know. And yeah, like I said before, when you're happy for me to move on, just let me know. How's everybody doing? Okay, we are gonna run out of time if I don't hurry up, so I'm gonna move on. And if you guys need me to slow down or repeat anything at any point, just let me know. So we've got our 3 labels here. I'm actually gonna do just the 2 for now because we are slightly running out of time, so I'll just do orange and green. And then this is where you're gonna actually start to add your images. Now, if you want to use multiple objects of the same color, you can, but I only have the one, so I'm just gonna do the one. You can use objects from the internet, or you can even draw ones, but because this is a real-world exercise, we're going to use our webcam. So you're going to click webcam. And then the webcam pops up. So I'm going to try and take about 7 images of my mug for orange. And I'm going to take it at slightly different angles as well. Maybe bring it a bit closer. There we go. And then the same for the other color. So I've got myself a green Italian dictionary as my green object. So I'm going to classify that one as well. It's important to get around about the same number of images for your classification, because we'll explain later. And there you go. And that is 2 different buckets of objects, if you will. 2 different classes. Okay. I'm going to carry on. If you guys need me to slow down or stop at any point, just let me know. But the thing you're going to do next is you're going to click back to project. Now you're going to click learn and test. So the computer is now going to train on the images you've given it to try and figure out whether it's looking at... My camera is gone. Oh dear. Oh, it has gone. Where did it go? It's probably because I turned it on here, isn't it? Let me try and get it back. Sorry about this, guys. I'm sure I'll be back in a sec. I think we're back. There we go. Sorry about that. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so we've created 2 different classes, one of orange, one of green, might be different for you. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to train our machine learning model. For this, it's quite easy. We just click the train machining model. And what this will do is the computer will now learn from the patterns in these colors from each of the photos that you've given it. And this will be used to then recognize new photos that you give it. Okay. And then you can also test to make sure your model is working by pressing test with webcam. I'm going to stop here for just a quick sec. Are you all happy for me to move on? Does anyone need me to slow down, or are you happy for me to continue? Okay, I'm not hearing anything. So what I'll do is I'll move on, and then if people need me to slow down, just type in the chat, slow down, or can you repeat that please, or just something to let me know, and then I will, of course, slow down for everybody. Comment says it's good. That's what I needed to keep going, so we'll keep going. So we're gonna click back to project, and the last thing we're gonna do thank you there, Michael, is we're going to click make. And we now have 3 different options. We can use Scratch, we can use Python, or we can use App Inventor. And of course today we are going to use Scratch. I thought we were going to use more Scratch than we actually did in this episode. But apologies, we will use a lot more Scratch next time as well. I used my green, and it said green. Yeah, so it's not, if you have a limited data set, sometimes it can misclassify stuff. I've had it misclassify stuff a bunch of times. We're actually going to cover why that might happen in next episode, but a lot of it is just down to not having enough stuff, enough data to really practice it on. But yeah, good point there, Official Spoon. Sometimes that doesn't happen. That it doesn't classify things correctly. But anyway, moving on. I'm really running out of time here. For the Chameleon project, luckily, most of the Chameleon stuff is created for you anyway, and you can go to Project Templates, and you can search for Chameleon, and it will be this one here. And you get this lovely little chameleon that you can start to create. So what you're going to do is you're going to click the costumes for the chameleon, and we've got this first one here called outline, and you're going to duplicate this as many times as you have colors. So I have 2 colors, so I'm going to duplicate it twice. So duplicate 1, duplicate 2. And then you're going to change it to be whatever color you have. So I said orange, and I had green. Make sure that they are spelt in the exact same way as they are in the labels. That includes case, as in if you've got a capital G for green, or a capital O for orange, or a capital R for red, you need to make sure that's included in the costume name as well. I've had a few people not have that. But yeah, once you've changed that, you can also then start to color your chameleon. So my chameleon for orange is going to be, unsurprisingly, orange. And for green, I'd like him to change green. Not the background. Well done there, Fliss. Green, there we go. Next, we can actually start to add some coding. So we're going to click on the code button, and we're going to click on the backdrop. So as you can see, the coding already has some coding on the backdrop for this tutorial. If I press start, it's going to change the color to outline, which is just the clear one. But what we want it to do instead is change to whatever the background image that we set it to is. So we're going to go down to this part here where it has the machine learning little blocks. I am running slightly over, I do apologize, but I'll finish this up. And then you click recognize image, and then in this images section, you're going to click backdrop image. So what this will do is it will then recognize the color of the background and then send a vent to the Chameleon to know what color it should change to. So that's what's happening there. The last part is to then go to the backdrops area. So you want to click on backdrops, and then you want to hover over, no, you can't really see this, I might have to make that a wee bit smaller, there we go. You want to hover over this backdrop menu area, and you want to click camera. And it's going to ask for permission for my camera, and the camera might turn off on here, but we'll see. And it's me. And then this is where you can actually use your camera to take a photo of whatever you want to color. So let's say I want the Chameleon to change orange. I take a photo of my lovely orange mug, take a photo, save, and that now becomes the background. And then when I run the program, fingers crossed, he's going to turn orange if I've done it correctly. Yay! He turned orange. And then if I were to try it out with the green book, hopefully he would also turn green. So yeah, that is a fun little project just to show you a bit more about how image classification works, but mainly to show you how machine learning for kids works, because it's quite a fun project, quite a fun app that you can use to make many different projects yourself. I hope you enjoyed this session. We'll be doing a lot more scratch coding next time, if you like scratch coding, which seems all of you do, which is amazing. So yeah, thank you all very much for joining me today, and I'd love to see you next time. Thank you, guys.